An Italian general sat alone in his office. On his desk lay a revolver. With trembling hands, he lifted it, ready to end it all. And just then, the door creaked open. A Capuchin friar stepped inside and spoke a single command. The general froze. He lowered the gun, averting tragedy. But there's a strange part. The guards outside his office swore no one had entered the building that night. Who was this mysterious friar? We'll come back to that story later. That man, whether he realized it or not, had just encountered one of the most remarkable saints of the 20th century, Padre Pio. Born Francesco Forgioni in 1887 in the tiny Italian village of Pietrelcina, Padre Pio became world famous during his lifetime, not only for his holiness, but for the astonishing and sometimes controversial phenomena that surrounded him. He bore the wounds of Christ, the stigmata, for 50 years. He was set to heal the sick, read hearts in confession, and even appear in 2 places at once. Some called him a miracle worker. Others accused him of fraud. But whether you believed or doubted, one thing was certain. Padre Pio was unlike anyone the world had ever seen. And today, I'm going to share with you 5 incredible stories about Padre Pio you've probably never heard before. Each one more astonishing than the last. So watch to the end. Now, let's get back to that general. One of the most popular stories told about Padre Pio involved an Italian general. According to many accounts, this man was overwhelmed after a terrible defeat in battle. The weight of responsibility for the men he had lost drove him into despair. Alone in his office late at night, with a revolver on the desk, he was moments away from ending his life. Just then, the door opened. A Capuchin friar walked in and firmly told him not to go through with it, not to offend God by such an act. The general froze, lowered the revolver, and when he looked again, the friar had disappeared. The guards outside swore no one had entered. Now, we can't be certain about all the details, like the general's name, the exact battle, or even the year. What we do know is that this story has been told and retold by countless people close to Padre Pio's life and legacy. And it's said that years later, when the same general visited San Giovanni Rotondo, he saw Padre Pio for the first time in person and recognized him instantly as the mysterious friar who had saved his life. This next story shows a more intimate and mysterious side of Padre Pio. From his earliest years, he spoke of having a companion who was always by his side. He said his friend would often guide him, protect him, and even carry messages on his behalf. Mysteriously, nobody knew who that friend was. Even his closest friends don't know who he was talking about. Years later, when pilgrims came from every corner of the world, many didn't speak a word of Italian. And yet, when they went to confession with Padre Pio, something extraordinary happened. They understood him perfectly, and he understood them, as if the language barrier didn't exist at all. Witnesses were baffled. How was this possible? Padre Pio finally explained the mystery. His faithful companion, the one he had known since childhood, was none other than his guardian angel, who acted as translator between him and the pilgrims. Padre Pio often told of fierce battles with the devil, not only spiritual, but physical. Friars in the monastery said they sometimes heard terrifying noises coming from his cell, as if a struggle were taking place. One night, the sounds were louder than ever. He was being thrown to the ground, beaten, even dragged across the floor. He cried out for help, begging his angelic companion to defend him. But no one came. Bruised and exhausted, he asked his guardian angel afterward why he had left him alone. The reply was simple. God had permitted the fight so that Padre Pio would grow stronger in spirit. One day at San Giovanni Rotondo, a woman came to Padre Pio, so grief-stricken she could hardly speak. Her sister had leapt from a bridge into a river, taking her own life. The woman feared what the church had so often taught, that such an act meant her soul was lost forever. She didn't ask a question, she didn't need to. Padre Pio looked at her with piercing compassion and said only, "Between the bridge and the river, there was time." To this day, the story is retold by pilgrims as one of the most mysterious and consoling moments of his ministry. A single sentence that opened a window of mercy. It was near the end of Padre Pio's life, and his health had collapsed. He suffered from a serious illness that left him so weak he could hardly move. Many wondered if his days were numbered. Around this same time, the pilgrim statue of Our Lady of Fatima, the very statue that had traveled the world after the apparitions in Portugal, came to San Giovanni Rotondo. For Padre Pio, who had prayed thousands of rosaries and devoted his entire life to Mary, this was more than a visit. It was a personal encounter with the one he called his Heavenly Mother. The friars placed the statue in the church where crowds gathered in awe. Padre Pio, though sick, managed to touch the statue's hand with his rosary. Then the moment came for the statue to leave. Carried by helicopter, it rose into the sky while the faithful looked on. From his monastery window, Padre Pio gazed upward. With frail hands, he waved goodbye. Then, in a whisper only those near him could hear, he said, "Mother, are you leaving without curing me?" What happened next astonished everyone. That very day, Padre Pio was suddenly healed. The illness that had nearly taken his life vanished. The friars who witnessed it believed it was a gift, a farewell blessing from the Virgin Mary herself, granted before his final years of suffering. So what do you think? Do you believe these stories about Padre Pio? And if so, which one spoke to you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and tell me where you're writing from. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and to make sure I can keep bringing you more stories like these. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.